This small island nation, though smaller than New York City, stands as the wealthiest country in Asia. It ranks among the richest globally. Its GDP per capita surpasses that of the United Kingdom, the United States, France, and other developed nations. Over the past 6 decades, Singapore has evolved from a colonial trading port into a dynamic financial hub, admired worldwide and often cited as a model for countries aspiring to develop a strong, high-tech economy. This remarkable wealth is the result of decades of strategic planning by a ruling party that has maintained power since the nation's independence. Singapore's journey toward success began in 1965 when its founding leaders, including the first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, identified significant economic challenges, particularly the lack of natural resources. To foster an export-driven economy and attract foreign investment, they focused on building the manufacturing sector. Singapore's strategic geographical position, with access to the Malacca Strait, the Indian Ocean, and the South China Sea, positioned it as a critical shipping hub. Initially, the country emphasized labor-intensive manufacturing to address high unemployment rates. However, Lee envisioned manufacturing as a transitional phase, laying the groundwork for a more sophisticated economy. He established essential structures, including a robust financial and legal framework, a stable and efficient government, and a world-class public transport system alongside healthcare infrastructure. In the 1980s, Lee began to pivot Singapore toward finance, drawing inspiration from established markets like the United States and the United Kingdom. He liberalized the financial services sector with a lighter regulatory touch, a decision that has resulted in a proliferation of multinational corporations establishing regional headquarters in Singapore. The low corporate tax rate has significantly contributed to this development. Under Lee's successor, Goh Chok Tong, the focus shifted further toward a knowledge-based economy, emphasizing creativity and entrepreneurship. In 2004, Lee's son, Lee Hsien Loong, assumed leadership and recognized the need to enhance Singapore's appeal as a desirable living destination to retain businesses and wealth. The country undertook extensive land reclamation projects, transforming the landscape with a mix of commercial and residential spaces, as well as entertainment venues. Notable initiatives included the introduction of the Formula One night race and the establishment of integrated resorts, which coincided with the economic growth of China and India. This positioned Singapore to attract affluent individuals seeking both leisure and investment opportunities. This strategic focus led to a dramatic increase in assets under management in Singapore, which rose from $420 billion at the beginning of Lee Hsien Loong's tenure to $3.6 trillion. However, Singapore's economic success has not come without criticism. The government has faced scrutiny for its restrictions on civil liberties and media freedom, often asserting that the integrity of Singapore necessitates such measures. Critics point to a climate of fear surrounding dissent, with subsequent administrations continuing to uphold stringent controls on protests and public expression. The government is acutely aware of the demographic shifts occurring within the nation, characterized by increased diversity and a more engaged citizenry. Concurrently, Singapore must maintain its competitive edge as other nations adopt aspects of its successful growth model. Additionally, the escalating threat of climate change poses significant challenges to national security. This is the landscape that Lawrence Wong will navigate as he assumes the role of Prime Minister. Wong, who has a background in public housing, has garnered commendation for his leadership during the recent pandemic and is perceived as having a relatable connection to the general populace. His approach should focus on building upon existing strengths and reinforcing the elements that are effective for Singapore. Although the People's Action Party remains the ruling entity, its popularity is waning, suggesting that political dynamics will intensify in the coming years. The accumulation of wealth has brought its own set of challenges, notably rising housing costs and an increased cost of living. Singapore's growth strategy has heavily relied on attracting foreign labor. However, an excessive influx of foreign workers has sparked concerns among citizens about job competition. While statistical data indicates a reduction in inequality, this does not necessarily reflect the sentiments of all residents. The country's rapidly aging population will exert additional pressure on workforce development and government expenditures. Whether addressing public discontent or steering Singapore's evolution into a technology-driven hub, Wong's mandate is to sustain the hard-earned achievements of this city-state.